Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of Two Girls, One Doc.
One Doc. Am I doing it correctly?
I love. Like, honestly, like, when you guys do it, it makes me so happy. It makes me feel like Forens is right here. It's your girl, BD, and Forens, the fiancé, is on a hiatus. So today we have another special guest.
It's me.
It is. She's been so supportive of the podcast. Like, honestly, like, it just made sense to have her here. Like,
I feel like I'm a big stan.
Honestly, like, you recommended so many documentaries to us to even watch and cover, and like, honestly, best vibes.
Thank you so much. Hi guys, it's me. My name is Ugo, and I'm so excited to be on here. So
honestly, welcome.
Thank
you. She's also a clink babe, and
absolutely.
you know that's a bit of us.
Name brand.
You know that's a bit of us. A cheeky brunch. You know, it's all in the vibes. We are drinking, and we're drinking the Yellowtail Jammy Rosé Roux.
And guys, let me tell you about this. I think this could surpass the pink Moscato. This really could surpass it. The flavours, I think the body, so. Everything when it's chilled. Because I feel like it's like a mix between the pink Moscato and, you know, the red one, the Jammy Red Roux one, yeah? It's like it has the depth of flavour as the red. You know what? I normally don't like red wine, but I love their Jammy Roux. So thank you. Okay, so we're on the same page. Yeah, so we're on the same page because I'm not really a red wine kind of babe. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's a new thing for me. It's light, it's nice, it's not too heavy. So best vibes. This one I recommend. I've been enjoying it the last
100%. Literally, we drank it. I drank it in one other episode, so it's not going away. Okay, so today we are covering a Channel 4 documentary called Dating App Horrors, The Untold Story. It's another, I think this is like the second Channel 4 documentary in a row that we're doing. They're not paying us, but it's whatever, yeah. Literally, it's about dating apps.
Literally dating horrors, dating apps. I was quite surprised, actually. I thought this was going to be a British documentary.
Same, so because it's on Channel 4, right?
It's on Channel 4, so it's quite interesting to see kind of what is going on over there.
Yeah, literally, because and also, not to be that person, but like, obviously, because it wasn't British, I was like, oh, okay, like, maybe it's not so bad here, like, maybe it's unlikely to happen here, you know, like, oh, maybe I'm a little bit more safe because it's not here, it's in the America, you know.
But anyway, we'll get into it.
We sure will.
We'll get into the meat of this.
Before we do, trigger warning, violence, sexual assault. I know that some people listen to the podcast and they don't like the scary ones. This is a scary one. So, you know, now is your chance to back out, re-listen to something cute and fluffy, and then come back next week. But yeah, it's actually kind of crazy. The documentary is also hosted by this lady called Elizabeth Vargas. I said Vargas. Vargas. Yeah. She's a journalist. And it's kind of like there's a narrator, but then there's also her who's host. It's weird.
It was weird, yeah.
It's weird.
Trying to get the balance between the two.
Exactly. It kind of reminded me of, you know, the Influencer of Soho one that we did. Okay. And it was kind of like...
that kind of...
Yeah, it was just a bit weird. It's more like a special than a documentary.
Yeah, Do you get what I mean? I don't know whether or not they got the balance properly, but we'll get into that. Yeah,
exactly. It was interesting. So the documentary opens in Atlanta, Georgia, 2014 with a police interview recording.
I met up with a guy that I met off of OkCupid. It's like a online dating.
Okay. Do you know his name?
Yes, Zach, Z-A-C-H.
Okay.
Anderson, A-N-D-E-R-S-O-N.
And so we meet the detective who was conducting the interview. His name is Ronald Sluss, right? And so he's here today in the documentary telling us about this victim whose name is Gillian. Now, Gillian is here with us in the documentary, but she doesn't want to be shown, right? So like, it's not like a whole black shadow. You know, I hate the whole black shadow distorted voice.
So we just kind of see the back of her and then we just hear her voice.
Exactly. So you can't tell who she is, but you can tell that someone's there and they're talking, right? So now we learn about what happened to Gillian, okay? So it's like we get straight into it.
We just get straight into it. So she does mention she's newly married.
Yeah.
Is something that she does say. And obviously she was on OkCupid.
Yes.
And I've actually never heard of OkCupid.
I have. I don't think it's a us thing. I think it's a them thing. I think
it's more of a US kind of thing.
I think so. I don't think
she's there telling us about, you know, she joined OkCupid. She sees this fine, young, tall gentleman.
Mate,
can you remember what his app
his screen name was Midwest is Best 13.
That was kind of giving me MAGA vibes,
but, so you know? first of all so then he reaches out to her basically and he's like, hey, you know, my name is Zach Anderson, and they're talking, they're getting on, you know, they decide to meet up. This is normal.
This is quite normal. Within the few days the conversation is flowing, so I think, okay, cool, let's meet up.
And this makes sense because like what you don't want is you're chatting to someone on a dating app and then like it just is going
nowhere. They want to use you for pen pal. Don't let anybody use you for pen pal. It's like talking for weeks and weeks and weeks.
So what are we doing here? So where are we going here? So they meet up. Like at this point, nothing is wrong. It's fine, right?
And I just want to also highlight they meet up during the daytime in a busy restaurant. Let's start from there.
Just put a pin in that.
Put a pin in that. It's daytime. Nice busy restaurant.
Everything.
I think they said Midtown. I've been to Atlanta, so nice part. Midtown. Yeah. Cool.
It's like everything one thing that we learn about all the women in this documentary is that they do everything as they're supposed to do. And this is why the whole idea of like victim blaming is so very stupid, because it's like, it doesn't matter if you do everything right. If someone wants to do madness, they're going to do madness.
They'll do it. Nothing is stopping them.
Exactly. So we see pictures of Zach. He's 6'4" and he just looks like any white guy.
Like any white American, guy.
Literally any American. He looks like an American. He looks like an American white guy. Yeah. And then one of the benefits or pluses with him is like there's no baggage, right? So no kids, no previous marriages. Like he's just a lot of people's type, right? He's just a general.
And that's what she says. You know, he was a perfect gentleman. It was perfect.
Just literally just any guy, right?
No red flags.
No red flags.
Well, there's no red flags sometimes, but
that's a red flag. Okay, no red flag is a red flag. So they meet up in the middle of the day, as Ugo was saying, and like they get on really, really well. And then he even suggests they take a picture together. And so she sends the picture to her friend.
And there they have it. They show us a selfie, you know.
And I'm like, he suggested, knowing what you're going to do, yeah.
He suggested
You suggested it. And so, do you know what? And I'm why that's crazy is because like then you let your guard down a bit, right?
You just feel really relaxed, like cool, we've taken the picture together. She even said she sent it to her friend.
Exactly.
So now it's like, you tell your friend something.
So, and then it's like, even when you go on dates with guys on apps, yeah, it's like, okay, cool, screenshot, here's his profile, cool, here's his number, cool, live location, like. So we see the picture. Obviously, they blur her face out because she doesn't want to be seen.
He's there,
but beaming, smiling.
She says she goes. So they have 1-2 drinks. She goes to the toilet. She comes back. They continue on. It's going really well, and then.
And she feels comfortable as well. She makes a point to say, look, like I actually feel comfortable because for you to leave your drink or your food or whatever and go to the toilet with someone that you just met, you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people are a bit creepy and you feel a bit, it's like, hey, I'm taking my drink with me or I'm ordering a new one.
Yeah, but she didn't think anything of it.
She didn't think anything of it.
The date goes on for a few hours.
Yeah, and it's daytime. And then her last thing she remembers is basically having a great time with Zach.
My next memory is waking up on my doorstep. I was slumped up against my door outside of my condo, and I didn't have my keys. I looked in the parking lot. My car wasn't there. I panicked. I was hurting, but all of a sudden, I kind of felt this wetness. I knew something was going on down there. I knew something horrible had happened.
1 minute, she's at the restaurant with Zach.
Enjoying,
next minute,
having a good time. Next thing, she is, I think she said they said condominium, that's their apartment.
Yeah, she's like outside.
Her doorstep.
Slumped up against her door, basically. Like, as in not with it. Like, she hasn't got her keys. Her car isn't there. Like, and she's like, what the fuck? And she's bleeding. Yeah.
And so she feels sore.
And she's like, something is wrong. So she goes to a hotel nearby. I don't even know how she managed to get there.
Do you know what actually I found really eerie is that they did show us the footage. There was lots of security cameras.
There was so much footage.
Very eerie of just seeing her look like she's just stumbling around.
Just discombobulated.
Yeah.
Like she just looks like she's all over the shop.
So eerie just watching the image.
And because it's CCTV as well, there's like no footage. So you're just looking at it. It kind of reminded me of like, Netflix Unsolved Mysteries. They have that like thing. So many times.
That's always a bit more scary, isn't it? When you see.
Yeah, you see the CCTV footage and you're like, what the hell happened? Like,
and what's even more shocking is that I think they said a security guard kind of tried to guide her because she was trying to walk up the parking ramp and everything. Yeah, and I think he then helped putting her in a taxi.
Exactly. That's how she ended up getting home.
Thank God that he was there.
Exactly. But then it's like in those situations, like you're probably just looking at her thinking, oh, this girl's drunk.
She's just drunk, And
it's like it's terrifying because then the next day she emails Zach and she's kind of like, hey, like what happened, like she didn't remember drinking so much that she would be drunk, and Zach is like, yeah, like you were fine.
They just had one kiss.
That's what happened
to him, just one
she
smooch.
Asked
that's
him,
it.
She says to him, look, like did anything physical happen? And basically what she's trying to say is, did we have sex? Because why do I feel sore? Like why in like my vulva area is feeling mad sore? Like I don't really get why that would happen if we didn't have sex. Yeah. And he's like, no, we didn't, like we just kissed. Yeah. And he's just acting normal, like, okay, cool, fine, like something weird happened, but I don't think it's anything to do with Zach. right? And so she goes to the authorities who investigate, and we see again more CCTV footage of her, and she's just like walking around and just on the sidewalk, and then we don't see her for a bit, and then an hour later we see her getting out of Zach's car. So it's kind of like so
a lot more. That's a big gap that he has missed out. This smells fishy.
Exactly. And it's like, that means that you saw me again after you say that you didn't see me. So interesting. And then the detective is like, we know that sex happened, right? But she can't remember it. And we know that Zach stayed in that area because of the cell phone records. And so Gillian, as Ugo said before, like ends up getting a cab, and that's how she gets to her doorstep. So it's all very weird. Like,
it's all very
and also
strange.
Like, it's terrifying for Gillian, because it's like, how would you just have hours of your life that you just don't know about? So now we meet Kelly. And Kelly had basically the same thing happen to her.
So she met him 2 years earlier.
Yeah, she meets this guy on OkCupid. So before, his name was Midwest is Best, or Maga,
he had another
was,
one.
Yeah. This one is Tour Guy 11, right? And surprise, surprise, obviously is Zach, yeah. It's like, I get your tour, that, but why are you trying to make it your personality? Like, relax. Do you know what I mean? Like, your tour, great. Like, what else? You know,
what else
it's a bit.
Please.
So they go on a date, and then they get into his car. And so, okay, trigger warning, because this is actually terrifying. And like, when I was watching this, I was just like, what the fuck? Like, they go on a date, they get into his car, and they are still in the car park, in his car, still outside a busy bar, right? So while they're in the car park, like, he tries to kiss her, and she's like, yeah, like, cool, I was on it. Like,
she was on it. She wanted to kiss, fine.
Exactly. But
then
it's
the next part, which
starts
is
getting
predator vibes.
He starts getting very, very aggressive, and then he ends up raping her in the car, in the car park, busy.
I was just like,
bar.
What?
And Kelly's like, I am so sorry this happened to you, because this shouldn't have happened. And she gets out of the car, and she doesn't want to report it to the police, but she's like, I want to do something.
You're right. This is the part where she's the one that goes to
OkCupid. Yeah, she's like, listen, like, this is his username, like, and then she doesn't hear anything back. Nothing happens, right? Eventually, she reports it to the police, but she doesn't press charges because the police are basically like, and this pissed me. Anyway,
this is the bit that really annoyed me, because I was like,
this pissed me off.
Okay.
They say that he passed a lie detector test.
And what?
And so?
This man is a predator.
And so? We all know, yeah.
That's what I'm saying, but does a lie detector test even stand up in court?
No, it's not admissible in court.
So that's why I don't understand.
1-2 documentaries you'll understand it's not admissible. So I don't understand.
Yeah, that was very confusing, that part. Yeah, I feel like they didn't even investigate a bit further.
They didn't. They just didn't want to do their job, yeah. So now, 2 years later, Kaylee gets a call about this guy, and she knows. She's like, I just knew at some point in my future
it was going to come up again.
Exactly,
he was going to do it again.
About this guy, exactly. And if something had been done before, you know, we wouldn't be here right now. So the Atlanta investigators are basically clocking that Zach Anderson has done something to Gillian. And so they say to her, oh, just stop talking to him, right? Okay. And then they're like, oh, actually, his name isn't even Zach Anderson, it's Devin Hartman. Not only is his name Devin Hartman, he's married. Not only is he married, he has 3 children. Not only does he have 3 children,
how do you even have time?
He has also a fiance.
How do you have time?
Are you jobless?
I'm just trying to understand how he managed to do all of this.
Are you jobless? I don't get it. I was like, no, but do you actually work? Because how do you have time to have a wife, a fiance, 3 children, and a bunch of victims?
A bunch of other victims. And the crazy part is that he was very active on a site called Massage Troll. I had a little Google.
Oh, did you go on
a little look into it? Massage Troll, we thank God it does not exist anymore. A few years ago, it used to be kind of the rival to Craigslist. I don't know if you've ever heard of Craigslist. Craigslist used to have some, you know,
fishy
some
characters.
Deviant kind of fishy goings on there, and so this was seized by federal authorities. I found out in 2018, because there's a lot of sex trafficking, so it was a key. Yeah, that's what I was saying when I was looking. I was like,
it's like black.
Yeah, a lot of black market stuff going on there, sex trafficking going on there, eliciting sex on there. So he was real active on there.
So even OkCupid and all of that is even just tame for him. That's even light work compared to this. Yeah, that's why. Well, thank you for doing that research, because I was not about to.
I had a little look. So, but it's been closed down.
Praise Jesus. And Craigslist next. So, Devin/Zach gets arrested, and then the media gets a hold of the story, right? Yeah. And so the detectives are getting a bunch of calls, and so many more victims come through, basically confirming that he is what we suspect, a serial rapist.
Yeah. So he was active on several sites.
He's on all that. And the thing is, of course you're going to be, because you're trying to increase your chances of finding victims. But again, in my notes, another time I put, do you not have a job?
Even threw me when they said that he had thousands of logons over the years.
That made sense.
How?
Of course. Because
thousands of logons.
I feel like that's like just like opening up. How many times do you open up the app? Of course it was thousands. Of course it was thousands.
And he spoke to over 100 different women. That's real work right there. 100 different women. Whilst you're married, with your 3 children and a fiance on the side.
What?
I don't know. Make it make sense.
It's like if you just channeled this dedication into something good, yeah. Who knows what you could have done?
Into something, into business, into
even into gym. You would have been a bodybuilder or something. So now we see clips from Devin Hartman's trial, right? And so his lawyer says something that really pissed me off. Like, I literally kissed my teeth as I was watching it.
There is physical evidence that she had sex, but there is no physical evidence that she was raped.
And actually, it's kind of like, can you shut the fuck up? Because now Devin, because if you remember before, he said to her nothing happened, nothing sexual happened, they just kissed.
So, which is a lie.
And so now you're trying to say, they had consensual sex. So then why did you deny that you had sex in the first place?
Yeah. Why do you just say it was one kiss?
Exactly.
When you were there, you came back, you were there, the car was there, there's evidence your phone was there, you guilty.
So where did this consensual sex come from? What are you talking about? Because you could have just said when she asked, oh yeah, we had sex. But you didn't say that, did you? And you didn't have sex because you're a rapist, so you raped her. Waste man. So they find him guilty, praise God. And I think this is the best part of the documentary because he's now currently serving 2 consecutive life sentences as we speak. And I was like, do you know what? I didn't realise that rapists could go to jail for that long, but thank the Lord. Yeah. Praise Jesus.
That was just,
and also, imagine being his wife and his fiancé and his children.
I know.
Impossible.
It's shocking.
You're literally living a lie. This man has come to bring shame.
To your whole family.
Shame to your house. So now we're in Las Vegas, right? And we meet this lady called Mary Kay Beckman, right? So she works in real estate. Life is good, but then suddenly her partner dies, right? And it's really, really sad. But then, she starts dating, okay? And she ends up meeting this man on Match.com. His name is Wayne Ridley, okay? And so, Mary Googles him, as we are always told to do. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Like, she doesn't see anything wrong.
Do your research. Exactly. Nothing pops up. Everything's fine. So they meet up for their first date and she does what we all do. She tells her friend about it. She says where we are, backup plans, like extraction plans. Like, oh, if I text you this, call me. Do you know? All the things that every woman I've known
do to keep ourselves safe.
Everyone does this, yeah. And it's like a nice little date. It's cute. And they have a couple more dates.
Go on a few.
Yeah. And then she gets turned off because he's a bit overbearing and controlling. And she's like, yeah, this is not for me. And so that, again, red flag. She sees it. She locks it off.
It was just 10 days. 10 days. She calls.
They were chatting for 10 days.
Yeah, about 10 days. So she clocks this on. They were chatting for 10. Kind of breaks it down. Like, do you know what? It's not really working out. All the best.
She's like, I'm not on it, right? But then he starts getting mad, and then she's like, you know what? Fuck it. I've already told you how I feel, so I'm airing it. Yeah, cool. Mary moves on, and then 3 months later, something happens. Okay, now Mary doesn't actually remember any of this, which I think is probably for the best. Yeah. But the police basically tell her what happened, and also I don't know, maybe there's like CCTV. I don't know. But she gets out of her car. She's home. She gets out of the car. She has her keys in her hand, and she hears something behind her, and she screams. And her neighbor hears this and calls 911.
911 emergency. I heard a noise outside, and I saw the guy. Pick up that one. Were they on the floor? Is the person moving that you saw? No, it's not moving.
Lucky that the neighbor was there to maybe witness some of this.
Exactly. And so basically, Wayne stabs Mary with a butcher knife. And so we see pictures of the crime scene. He stabs her 10 times until the knife broke, right? And as if that wasn't enough, he stomps on her head. So just imagine like the force and the rage and like
to
the
break
madness.
The blade into you. Do you know what a butcher's knife is?
It's crazy. Like, this is not a tablespoon or a table knife or whatever the fuck, butter knife, yeah? So no one thinks that it's Wayne, okay? They think that...
They have no idea. They just think it's a random attack
because
on her doorstep.
Because why would somebody you've been dating for 10 days be this mad at you for no longer dating them? So no one thinks... Mate.
Anything is possible at this point.
3 weeks pass before the detectives get a lead, and that lead is all the way in Phoenix, Arizona, where Ann Simonson is killed. Now... Ann Simonson is attacked in the same way that Mary was. And the other thing that they had in common was they both dated Wayne Ridley.
But the thing is that she even came to say they dated 3 years ago. 3 years ago, she was dating this guy.
Listen, we actually get into this because this is, I mean, by any definition, a grudge, right? Because the police arrest him. And we see his interrogation in Phoenix, right? They have no idea about Mary in Vegas. This is all about Ann Simonson. So Wayne confesses to Ann's murder, right?
He just said outright. I was even like, there's no shame, no nothing. He's like, yeah, well.
And so, And so I mean, I'm not gonna go into details about everything he did to her yet, because it was just very, very crazy and very, very mad. But he basically said that he only hurt people that had hurt him.
Yeah.
And it's like, so by rejecting you, that they have you seen this there was this clip going around on Twitter of basically like how like our generation of men, a lot of them are more and more lonely, and because of that,
I did see
it's
that.
more risky because they're more likely to do. And I'm just like,
but why do you feel entitled to do that?
I'm
no
just
one
like,
knows you anything.
And you know what, I feel like, okay, there's so many women who are single around our age, and it's like, they don't go around.
It might be a young men are trash now and again, but are we going to?
But are we killing?
We going to kill anybody?
My whole thing was like, I feel like women have community. Yeah, like we have like sisters.
We support each other. There's a sisterhood.
There's so much more than just romance or like, oh yes, superficial friendships, and all of that is like so important, just as part of your life anyway, regardless of if you're in a relationship or not. And I feel like if men are having like such shallow friendships and they're not really able to like be vulnerable,
then it translates into anger,
into violence. Exactly.
And the thing is, what shocked me is Wade went to go and use a machete.
Can you imagine?
Not only did he use a machete, this man had a kill list.
Do you know what? Can we talk about the kill list? Because he, basically is telling, I mean, and he's a chatty patty in it, because
he was
all of
there
this
talking,
singing like a canary.
Singing. Thank God he didn't deny it, because he was there singing.
On the kill list was Anne, and his ex-wife, her new boyfriend, and Mary, And so he tells them about Mary, because Mary happened in Vegas. Yeah,
and they had no idea about this. So this wasn't linked before, but then they wouldn't have known. He goes to go and confess.
They wouldn't have known. They wouldn't have known at all. So our narrator is basically telling us that like Wayne had a criminal record before he even killed Anne and before he attacked Mary, and like he met both of them on Match.com, right?
And they were both quite similar. They were older kind of women, and they were both realtors, which was quite interesting.
Yeah, which is I don't know if that was like a happy coincidence or like
something. Yeah, I don't know what it was.
It was really strange. It was really strange actually, but because all these apps, they don't require any information about like previous convictions or whatever, like he was able to.
That's how he was able to.
And the thing is, I'm not saying that because you've gone to jail or made a mistake in life, like you can't date or you can't whatever, should discriminate against you. But if it's a violent crime against women
should be able to make that informed choice by themselves.
Exactly. If it's a violent crime against women, like, I believe that I should be able to know, and then at least I can say that I knew. Do you know what I mean? Or I took extra precautions. I don't know, because if someone like stole a little bit or robbed a little bank or something, like, okay, cool. Maybe, you know, you need to work on your technique next time.
A bit more, but violent crimes against women, assaulting women, stalking women, harassing women. We need to know that.
Exactly.
We need to know that.
We really need to know that.
What was so annoying is he was there playing victim, saying, I wanted her to pay for her attitude and all these kind of things. I'm like, are you okay?
Well, clearly he's not.
Clearly he's not, but he sang like a canary.
People are allowed to not like you. It's okay.
People are allowed to.
They're actually allowed to not like you. But the good news is he gets sentenced to 28 to 70 years in prison, which is the maximum sentence. And so we meet the judge, Abby Silva. She's in the documentary, and she basically is like, do you know what? Like, one of the things we have to consider is this person going to be a danger to society? And like, absolutely is.
Absolutely. There's no question.
Absolutely.
Do you know what? To use a machete, where did you even get a machete from?
Where did you find a machete?
Where did you find a machete?
Do you know what it is? When people shoot people, obviously that's wrong as well, but I feel like
that's from afar, but coming to personally come forward.
I just feel like it's not passive, but like it's almost like
it's a bit more removed.
Yeah,
you think?
It's a bit more removed. Kind of, when you're stabbing somebody,
you have to
I've never done it, but like you have to be close to them and you have to put in force. It's not a little poke here and there.
You have to
10 times
with intention,
breaking butcher's knives. Like you have to. You tried. Do you know what I mean? Like you actually tried. And to me, I'm just like, yeah, babes, like you're fucked, and that's crazy, and you should not be around anybody else.
But sadly, what happens?
So before that happens, he has to face trial, for the murder of Anne Simonson. But he dies by suicide in his jail cell, which is really annoying because
really annoying.
I really wanted him to like
justice
suffer.
For the
victims, justice, no peace
at all.
Literally
chickened out, killed himself.
Chickened out, and it's like I just think that like I wish that you could like have lived to suffer for what
and
you
just
did.
see, and pay for your crimes. Mary was in hospital for months recovering.
And you know what as well? It's not even just the physical scars. It's like Mary, like
the trauma.
Think
she
about
was
it.
Fresh out, widow, wanted to look for love and romance.
She did nothing wrong.
That's what they, it promised for her. You're not thinking that you're going to go and get attacked on your doorstep.
And it's like literally on your doorstep where you're supposed to go to feel safe. Like every time now that she gets out the car and
I can't even live there no more.
Honestly.
I can't.
Honestly. it's just so, it's like, look at what you've taken from people, and then you went and now you've peacefully died. No, piss off. So now we're in the part of the documentary where we get into the idea of accountability, right? Because who is responsible for this? Because obviously Wayne is responsible for his actions. Absolutely. But also, could Match.com have known? Could they have prevented this? And Mary's lawyer is kind of like, Anne told everyone that Wayne was dangerous and violent, but no one could prove that Match.com knew it. That was the
issue. And I although in this part, I feel like he was a bit hazy with what the evidence was.
Yeah.
And he was saying that he
because they can't prove
that Match.com prove it, and it was a bit, and that was the issue, that they couldn't prove that there was evidence that he had done things like this before, and Match.com had been warned
because
about
it's like, I can say, oh yeah, I told Ugo something, but I can't prove that Ugo knew that something.
Yeah.
But
they couldn't get into the emails and things like that. I think if they were able to do that, then they would have a lot more evidence to go on.
But it was just weird. I mean, he tries to go up against them, but he runs into this thing called Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, which states,
an interactive computer service cannot be held liable for content that a third party creates.
So basically, people can sue an individual, right? But they can't. So for example, if I say, oh, I think Ugo's shit, Ugo can sue me, but she can't sue Twitter, just because I tweeted it. Do you know what I mean?
That's the thing. So I can see how it helps.
Exactly. Because otherwise, none of these companies are going to...
Because, boy, they'll be suing non-stop.
None of them are going to survive. None of them would survive.
None of them would survive. So I can see where it makes sense. But then when you get these kind of cases...
sort it out, man. Like, come on. There must be like, you know, like, I don't know, like a scale or a spectrum or like something.
Yeah, where there's some sort of accountability. So the other thing that was quite interesting, I didn't realise, so the Match group actually owned...
There's bare of them, innit?
Lots of
Tinder,
different dating sites.
Cupid, Plenty of Fish.
That's what I'm saying. I counted up to 10 they were showing on the screen.
And bare of them I had never heard of.
Yeah. And they were saying, I think they were raking in 1.7 billion.
Yeah. And do you have to pay for Match.com?
I don't know, actually. I know with certain services that you can get... when you pay for certain things, you get special matches or you get to do certain stuff. So maybe that's where they make their money. But
because I've never paid for a dating service in my life.
I've never paid for it. People are the currency, is what I say. We are all the currency.
But you don't get ads on dating apps, do you?
No, but I feel like they use... So
they sell your data.
They sell your data. Okay. And they use your data for lots of different things. So I've only been a Hinger.
Yeah, same.
I used Tinder for 2 hours. I saw that is not my market and it is not for me.
I was on Bumble for a bit.
Okay.
That was a bit, I don't know, it was just a bit like, because I think Bumble was trying to do the whole like meet friends and stuff.
Okay.
But not really though, because it was still like a dating.
It's still like a dating kind
Bumble
of thing. I haven't
weird.
used...
Yeah,
is that the one where the women make the choices? Is that another one?
I think so.
Where the women like...
I don't remember. But
yeah. So I've done the whole hinging. I'm sure a lot of people have done the hinging, especially during lockdown.
Mate, do you know what?
Very interesting.
When I was on Hinge, you could... There was like certain things that you could like, height for example was on there like just for everyone.
There was a lot,
but then they made it a premium thing.
Yeah, now they made it all a premium kind of thing. Yeah, so now you can only pick like the basics, but now if you pay that money every month, I said it's not even that deep.
It's not that deep. It's not.
Yeah, it's not that deep for me. Let me manage the basics that I can do. It's absolutely
fine. When Jesus says yes, no one can say no. So it's absolutely fine. But yeah, so basically they're arguing that Match.com and the whole group are arguing that they're not liable. Of course they're going to. And the thing is though, even if they knew that Wayne was a killer, the CDA Act protects them.
Yeah.
So it protects them. So it doesn't even really matter. So it's kind of like, what are we even arguing about?
What are we arguing about?
Yeah, because this act protects them. So the argument is that these companies could do more to protect the people who use the site, but there's no incentive to do so because this act protects them. Yeah. So it's kind of like, mate, we're just going to continue. What's the chances of this even really happening? But really, if this happens to one person, that's one person too many.
It can happen to
one person too many, and it can happen to anyone else. So the documentary ends now with our detective basically saying that online dating isn't inherently bad or evil, but the dangerous part is the unknown and not knowing who we're meeting up with. And I do think that like online dating can be scary, but then also like so is normal dating, like so is meeting strangers.
It's crazy. Even though I know there's so much danger out there, it did make me kind of sit up a bit and think, actually, anyone can pretend to be
anyone. Yeah.
Anyone can pretend to be anyone. And I think what kind of scared me as well is the women, they took the precautions, they told their friend where they were, etc. They had the selfies and all this kind of stuff. That didn't stop the men on the other side.
And the thing is that sometimes
these heinous acts.
Sometimes it's like you like are trying to prevent something from happening, but like it might still happen. Do you know what I mean?
The thing.
And it's like you can do everything possible, but if somebody wants to do something,
they will go and do it.
And then also, it's not even just someone that you meet online. You can meet someone in a bar. You can meet someone at the shop. You can meet. It could be a mutual friend of someone else, and so. Like, I think, it's just really, really scary. It's just terrifying, especially now that like dating apps are really how I met my boyfriend on a dating app. And it's like,
are we using the same dating app?
We're
using the same one.
I'm not trying to give him no shine, but it rhymes with cringe. But yeah, no, it's like, fam, that was back in the day. I don't know what's happening there no more.
I don't know if it's the same one anymore.
Fam, I don't know. Like, I just think you can meet someone anywhere, and they could be a mad person, or they could be perfectly fine.
And they can be perfectly fine. So we just never know. So
I don't know, man. Like, just I don't even know what advice to give. But just men are trash, basically.
We just have to be extra vigilant and just really checking with our friends know where we are, ensuring, I think is really important, especially on the first few dates. They don't know where you live. You're not going anywhere near my house.
I mean, but you know, did you see that TikTok of that girl who was like, I expect you to come and pick me up from my house? I said, do you know, I understand like having your standards and stuff, but I don't want you to know where I live. I don't want you to know where I live. What? Are you right?
Until I see you're a normal human being, I don't want you to know where I live.
Why would you know where I live?
Nah. So that's a no from me.
So yeah, that's it for this documentary. Now it's time for
the real crime, I think, was the beard.
Our segment where we focus on something during the documentary that may not be criminal, but we definitely consider to be a crime. Do you want to go first, or shall I go?
You go. Let me hear your part.
So the real crime, I think, was Wayne and his crimson chin. Because why was your chin like that? Why? And you know what? People always say, don't speak ill of the dead, but like the dead was a dickhead, innit? And like,
he was an absolute dickhead.
He was dangerous, and it's better that he's not here. I just wish that he had suffered so that he would have been in prison for longer and like really felt the error of his ways
in prison, he reflecting on it for those
years,
for those 70 years. But sadly,
he did not. He took the easy way out.
Yeah.
What about you?
So I was having a think there, but you know who kind of got on my nerves? It was the Match.com lawyer. And I think his name was Michael Chia.
Come on, Michael.
I just was not enjoying. So obviously the judge was obviously expressing like, do you know what? How many dangers there are? Shouldn't there, these sites be held accountable? And I know obviously it's his job. I just was not feeling his vibe. There was a lot of kind of victim blaming.
He's on the wrong side of history.
He was on the wrong side of history for me. And I know it's his job, but I just wasn't feeling it. So
I know it's his job, but it shouldn't be his job.
Yeah.
He needs to do better. Yeah, no.
I don't know how he was sleeping at night, but 100%. Do you know what? I'm sure they're paying well.
I wonder with like defense attorneys, because like sometimes I think to myself like, okay, if you are a prosecutor like versus a defense attorney, it's kind of like, would you rather put an innocent man in jail or keep a guilty man out? That's really what you're deciding between.
Do you know what?
I don't know. Putting an innocent man in jail is fucked, which is what you could potentially do as a prosecutor.
That's the thing.
But leaving or setting a guilty man free is also fucked.
It's also another thing. So I wonder if that is something that comes to mind.
I don't know. I think that with all these cases and stuff, it's really just about what story you can paint, or what picture you can paint, and like what is the jury going to believe, or what makes the most sense in terms of like as a story. Yeah. And I think it must get to a point where, like, as a lawyer, you just kind of like, mate, you
just go with it. So I don't know whether the money talks. I know, prosecutors and etc. do make
it probably bank
in America, especially. They make bank. So I don't know. You know what? He was doing his job, but I had a serious side eye when I was watching him defending the behaviour on there. Yeah. And kind of cancelling the liability that Match.com had.
Exactly.
But
there's one bit where he said something like, "Oh, like obviously, like I know it's unfortunate, but like this is the logical thing." And I was just thinking, men love to come and bring up logic. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about in this instance?
Maybe if you said it's legal,
people have died.
Or it's
people
whatever.
have been assaulted.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a weird. Yeah, it was a weird documentary, but it was. Is it going to make you less likely to use dating sites?
Not necessarily, but I think it's just being a lot more vigilant as to what could happen, but it's just ensuring those steps are in place. And that's what the women did.
And I do feel like women do that anyway.
Women do that anyway. Naturally, we'll do that. Anyway. We're very protective. We'll let our friends know.
Exactly. Live location, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I just think it's just something we just need to have at the back of our mind. It definitely made me sit up a bit. It's surprisingly not something I thought about, that on an online date that there'll be some weirdo pretending to be somebody else, and
like drugging you. Do you remember that there was a snap ages ago and basically like this girl, it was like at a festival, and she was holding like one of them red cups. It was like an open cup.
Yes.
And she's like dancing and
there's some guy in the background
and he puts a pill in her drink. And the thing is, I watched that video so many times. It wasn't until like the third or fourth time that I clocked
that you clocked the guy. Just a
and I was like
that.
And then he'll now watch you for the rest of the night. terrifying.
It's very terrifying.
Terrifying.
It is.
Because
and it just happens just like that. I've actually had my drink spikes before.
Stop it.
Luckily, this is a good few years ago. Luckily, I was with one of my really good friends, and we, like, when we're out somewhere, it was one of our friends' birthday.
Yeah.
When we're out together, we stick together. This is in London, so this was in like a hotel. It was a birthday event that was there.
No,
and you know where there's lots of tables and kind of thing.
Yeah.
And our table was kind of near the DJ booth. So you know, we're kind of dancing.
Yeah, you're having a good time.
We had left our cups on the side. And we had,
nearby.
The Henny was there. The drinks were flowing. And all we both remember, luckily we always stick together. All we remember is just remember having a good time with fingers at the front, dancing, doing I think it was some funky house, getting, like, all this kind of stuff.
Bubbly.
A gap, and all of a sudden we're in my house. We wake up. My friend doesn't have a phone.
That's terrifying.
Very terrifying. We're trying to retrace our steps. She doesn't have her phone. I'm looking at my Google Maps. I always leave my Google location on.
Okay.
And I could see that we were kind of going up and down. It was just very hazy.
Wandering.
We don't remember anything. We then go back there. We're both feeling very weird, really thirsty. We don't remember anything. Don't remember getting home. Don't remember leaving the dance. Don't remember hours. Just a complete block and
that's crazy.
Blank. We retrace our steps. We go to the venue. We look at the CCTV. Kind of sees us kind of going up and down, but we're together. We're together. We go to the toilet. We go to somewhere else, and then as I'm tracking my location, I see, okay, we went to a food shop that was across the road. Yeah. Had the phone, but it was, thank God, me and my girl, we stuck together because we don't remember one crazy thing, just a whole block. And then for the few days after, we just felt off.
Did you get like little bits of memory
just
coming through?
Just random flashes, like not remembering, just looking at just us zigzagging.
Like aimlessly.
Up and down, aimlessly. Don't remember. I don't know how we got home.
Did you watch I May Destroy You?
I did.
When she got spiked in the thing, and it literally, I was like, this is terrifying.
It can happen to anyone.
Literally.
Anyone. And that was us just having a good time at our friend's birthday.
And like, that's best case scenario, that nothing mad happens.
That we just stuck, like, you can see us together, just holding hands, walking up, just a bit disoriented, walking up and down. We went to the toilet. That is terrifying. Went to thing. Do not even know how I got to my house. Just there, both of us woke up like, what happened?
That's so scary.
And that is me being with my friends. So I can't
imagine on your own.
You're on your own, you're spiked. So I really do feel for, and it's despicable.
Be careful out there,
anyone
man.
that spikes drinks or does anything like that.
Sort it out, man.
Jail.
Sort it out. Literally under the jail. Oh, but yeah, man. So next week, I'll be back with another amazing guest while Florence is on her hiatus, and we'll be covering the Real Bling Ring Hollywood heist. Basically, so I don't know if you've heard of this documentary. It's about this group of teenagers who rob celebs, they rob their houses. Yeah,
okay.
It's a true story. Yeah, so it's on Channel 4 as well. I promise you guys, this is not.
Is this in America or here?
America. Okay. It's like Hollywood Hills.
Okay.
Yeah, trust me.
And they're robbing houses.
Yeah, and they're just any teenage, just some any guys. Yeah. So it's on. My UK girlies, it's on Channel 4. For anyone not in the UK, it's on Netflix, but just set your VPN to America and it'll be there. So it's 3 episodes. We're going to cover it in one, and I'll play the trailer for you at the end. But in the meantime, you can find us Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, 2 Girls 1 Doc, TikTok, 2 Girls 1 Doc podcast, and 2girls1doc@gmail.com. Where can they find you? Do you want them to find you? Yeah, you do.
They can find me. So I'm a big foodie, so you can find me on my food page, which is all things food, lifestyle, enjoyment, cling.
What's that?
If you're into it, you can find me at what_EV eats. So that's where you can find me. Let me know if you've stumbled across from me from here. Let me know.
Yeah, honestly, when I say clink babe,
real clink babe.
If you two are a clink babe, if you are a brunch babe, it's a bit of you.
So yeah, there's lots of good suggestions on there. So do give me a follow. I'm also on TikTok with this exact same at. So what_EV eats.
Yeah. Oh, I love. Do you know how many times on TikTok I'm like, a restaurant in London Bridge, a restaurant in Canary Wharf, and then just going through and looking and seeing. Especially when you're abroad.
Yeah, when you're abroad, yeah.
It's where am I gonna go?
I think TikTok's amazing for that.
Amazing. People are saying it's replacing Google for the Gen Z and that.
And I found myself looking at certain things. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. Just seeing the real footage and what people think about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's more genuine, and it's right there. I don't have to now be searching through all these
up
things.
and down and everything.
It's literally right there.
It is replacing the Bird app for me.
Yeah, I hear it.
Currently, right now, it is one of my favourite apps. So
I hear it. It took me a long time to jump on, but I'm on now.
Yeah.
And I'm glad.
Yeah, I'm glad
I belong
there.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
Anything you want to say to the people then before we go?
Guys, keep listening. Keep sending them recommendations.
Oh my God, I watched that one that you sent me on TikTok.
Yes,
I watched it today.
I need to watch that one. But as soon as I saw the trailer, I was like, yep.
They took it off, you know.
Oh, they took it off?
Off TikTok. Yeah, I think copyright stuff.
Oh, okay.
But it's still on Amazon.
Okay,
so basically, there's a documentary called 3 Mothers, 2 Babies and a Scandal.
Okay.
Is that what it's called, right?
It's along those lines. I know there's 3 mothers
3, 2, 1.
title.
Yeah. And
what do you think about it?
It's on Prime. Yeah, I would say watch it because it's actually
I'm gonna watch.
I think that, and I would love to do it. I'd love to cover it with friends because I feel like there's so many themes with
I
it.
can imagine.
And it's like,
I think there's race come into play as well.
Kind of, but not really though. It's not. It's more, in my opinion. It's more about class.
Are they?
They're mixed race. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
from what I got from it, it's also class. But I think it would be great for friends.
Yeah,
but definitely give it a watch. I'm going to. I didn't realize it has now come out. So
it came out the other day. Yeah, exactly. But so I'll play the trailer for what we're covering next, and we'll see you next week.
All right,
bye.
Nick Prugo and Alexis Nyers
were members of a burglary ring that targeted Paris Hilton, Orlando Bloom, and other A-list stars.
It was like they went shopping in my closet. The defendants want to be famous. The attorneys want to be famous. It's like a up LA Greek tragedy.
I've always been the type of person to kind of do whatever I had to get what I wanted, but I never thought in my wildest dreams that it would reach the level of criminality that it did. We were constantly going to Paris's house. It was like our personal ATM.
After my house was broken into, I was the most terrified I've ever been in my entire life.
They made me the bling ring leader. It's just totally not based in any reality.
Get attention no matter how you get it, and you will become a celebrity.
Oh my God, I'm in Vanity Fair!
In the 2000s, reality TV and social media has made celebrities very accessible to everybody. The interest wasn't just they targeted celebrities, it was the brazenness of keeping the clothes and wearing it themselves.
Really? Another unlocked door. Well, we can do this again.
I didn't come here to save face. I came here to be honest.
Who would you have chosen to play you in the bling ring?
A super young, maybe a Tom Cruise.